recommend that we start him out at the base at 1550 and offer him 40 hours a week as well.
Any questions for Travis on this approval to hire for Brian?
Yeah, the HVAC, is that apprentice, was he an apprentice?
Yeah, basically, just helping doing installs and general maintenance kind of thing. I mean, it was actually, hang on a second here, for Merwin Oil and propane. So helping set the units and that kind of thing that were oil, based off of what they would service and install.
I mean, you have had this job posted since August.
Yeah, and actually I've been talking
interviewing
with Brian since Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving. So, and I'm always that guy that has the philosophy that the guys that take longer stay longer. So, if it's a long hiring process, that's a good feeling to me because I know that they're going to stick around. They don't make a quick change. And, kind of the same thing with Jennifer Getz. I mean, I've been talking to her since September, and I first offered her a position, part-time position at the middle school, but it just wasn't enough for her because, she needs that full-time. One of the great benefits with her also is she lives right here in Mayville. Brian lives in Lamira, which is still relatively close. So, yeah, I think they'll both be great assets.
Any more questions for Travis? Dick?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 6-0-1. Thanks,
Thank you
Travis.
very much.
All set now.
Resolution 1819-138, approval to hire Laura Bauman, special education teacher at the middle school. Motion?
So moved.
Joel, seconded by Jim. Bob?
Yes, when we were looking at the needs of our students at the middle school, especially those where we want to increase their self-regulation skills that will allow them to focus more deeply upon their academics. And in doing so, we need someone that had an emphasis in that area, working with students. And we did have someone on staff who has that emphasis. And so we looked at adding another program and kind of funneling these kids into that program to get that more focused support by our staff member. As a result, it created an opening with some other moves within the special ed department. And Mrs. Bauman was one of our paraprofessionals that came to us that we found very, what's the word I want, impressive in her work, not only her work, but her attitude and her approach to her work every day. And after working as a paraprofessional in our building for a short time, she determined that this is what she wanted to do and wanted to become a special ed teacher. And so we opened up for interviews. We interviewed people with experience as well as people without experience. And Laura really was the one that came to the top with her very strong desire to become a teacher and to help kids, plus her experience and what we've observed of her helping kids within the building. And she has already worked to become or to join the RIGHT program at CISA 6, which is the Residency and Teacher Education Program. She has taken her tests, she has passed those tests, and is ready to take on that to become fully licensed as a special ed teacher.
Any questions for Bob on this approval to hire?
I wasn't clear, is she a certified teacher?
No, she has a 4-year degree, and she was able to enroll in the RIGHT program, which is the licensing program through CISA 6. It's a couple different options that are out there. This is one where she's part of a cohort. Half of it's online, half of it's face-to-face up actually in Oshkosh. So she's all on board. One of the things that he mentioned as far as tests goes, it's in order to get into the School of Education, you have to pass the praxis, it's called. And so she passed those all on the first try, and those aren't just a given. So all of us have not been in algebra in many, many years, even though we all may be strong math students. It's, wow, so she did a great job. And she's been an interventionist support person, supporting kids in this particular content area. So she did amazingly well when we talked to her. She was super happy with her performance on that. So she's ready to go. Her license, the application has been submitted to the state of Wisconsin, and she's doing what she needs to do as far as making progress towards that.
Any other questions? Joe?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried 6-0-1. Resolution 1819-139, approval of resolution to support the lead water service abatement program as stated in the resolution. Need a motion for approval.
So, I would second that.
Joe, second by Jim. Okay, you want to
Sure.
discuss?
So, Joe reached out, shared, one of the things that is great is he's been an advocate for just lead water abatement awareness in the area earlier in the school year, or it was either last spring, last spring. He shared some resources about just informational pieces that could go out to households, so we did send those out. And this is really about just overall community wellness and youth wellness. And right now, at the city level, I did speak to the head of the Mayville Water and Wastewater Commission here in town. And he did share that I think it's tomorrow night, they have on their meeting agenda to approve applying for a grant that will pay for, cover the costs associated with this lead water testing in households. And right now, there's 200 houses, older homes in the city of Mayville that they're concerned about. And they really want to make sure that they're doing as much as they can to bring about the level of awareness as far as what it means if you have lead in your water and the things that you can do. So by applying for the grant, it'll actually pay for all of the testing. And one of the things that we had talked about was just providing a resolution to support having it go beyond something that is optional and turning into something that is mandatory for anyone who has a house in the area under the age of 17. So, or to their children in the home, 17 and under, that are living in the city of Mayville. So, right, actually, anybody in the school district area is what it comes down to. So I spoke to their director. He said, yeah, totally welcomes that, no problem. So this is a resolution that just says, hey, that lead is more dangerous to children than adults. We're concerned about this. Due to this increased danger of lead to children, the Mayville Board of Education would urge the Mayville Water, Waste, and Water Commission to keep the voluntary testing of the water service abatement program and consider the mandatory testing of those identified housing structures that have children under the age of 17. They're going to get that information from us, which we cannot provide for them, so they will just give us the content and we'll make sure to deliver to them. So that's the way around. So like, we can't give out addresses to the community, so we can do a mailing though. That's what we can do. So we can support that.
So we would do a mailing to all households as
Right, we can specifically go to, we know who lives in the city of Mayville. They can share with us the 200 addresses that they're concerned about. We could totally be the in-between to help navigate all of that. So if we are able to give them that information, we happily do so. But we're working on that.
Can they do the mandatory?
That was the debate that I had with Joe, right? And John even. And at the county level, I reached out to Dodge County. And they said, well, it's kind of tough, but you can strongly encourage.
Yeah.
And the reality is, the way that this is written is to consider the mandatory testing of those identified. So I think that really comes down to strongly encourage too, So the city, when I spoke to their director, he was very comfortable with putting in writing the mandatory testing part. Well, based upon that, then I was good with it too.
Most people don't realize when you're dealing with water, you can mandatory test whether it's a county house. Matter of fact, I would encourage anyone living out in the counties, a lot of people don't know, is your wells, when they're tested, they're not tested for lead. And it's just, most people don't know about it. You need to get it tested inside, as there are a lot of these have lead running into the house itself. That was something I was hoping to start fostering more communication with the county to try to get on board with this in the future as well. And that way it affects the whole county. But as far as the water department, they are able and capable of mandatory doing things, especially when it comes to health and things like that. It's been a big issue in our country for quite a while, and it's better to be proactive on it. And Mayville right now, I think, is very proactive and light years ahead of other Wisconsin communities, and I always strongly encourage that, staying ahead of this, and that's what they're doing.
The question was Jim asking if it was mandatory to repair it or just mandatory to?
No,
Oh, no,
that's
just-
another
no,
story entirely.
That is
Yeah.
a different story. Actually, they got grants right now where they, the grant will actually repair it. At the meantime, the homeowner usually has to pay about $38 for a filter, is what it costs. I know that they can get it from the city. Up until,
house filter?
I don't know. That's some of the parts that I don't know. I understand that there's a filter that they have, and then from there, then there's grant funds available, which they've already been done. So, and they've already been paid for. As a matter of fact, on my street on North or South Main there's already a couple of houses that I know of that have already had it done, and the city's paid for it, / actually the money's coming from a grant from the state fund.
The solutions are rarely replace all the pipes in the hospital.
Yes.
They're more filtration systems, just
Correct.
go get some bottled water, you know, let the water run for a longer period of time. So once they find out about it, it doesn't have to be this big costly expense. And the other part of the concerns are more about youth and the impact
Correct.
of lead in the water on youth. And when I spoke to the person from the county level, they were really more of a fan of other options to mitigate other than saying, oh, yeah, you found out you've lead, now go rip all the pipes out of your house. You know, that's not the number one.
Well,
thing.
sure, there's
It's
other
more about
options.
the awareness
Yes, it's awareness
and the
options.
filtration
Sure.
of water.
And the other thing you got, if you read halfway through this, the biggest problem is dust.
Absolutely.
A young family buys a house, and what's the first thing they do? They start sanding their woodwork and whatever, and they got these little kids sitting down below while they're sanding the lead paint. And that's a bigger problem than actually water.
And I would support the school district doing more mailings,
There's
emails. And
There's
things like
beautiful
that.
brochures on this, both water and the
Sure.
lead paint. That right now, every renter, anybody that owns a house is supposed to give that out whenever they rent.
Correct.
Age.
I don't know if the county, I probably would be at the county level, is considering, you know, the rural testing in light of the study that was just.
I was on that committee for a year, and we only do bacteria,
Correct.
Right,
because metals is very expensive. It's about-
Well, they've gotten the cost down at the city to $12.50. Used to be $100, but if you do multiples, the costs went down
Right,
quite a
it
bit.
was
So,
$80 to $120 the last
yeah,
we
so
looked into
they
it.
were able to contract to where they could get the cost greatly, significantly reduced. So I was glad to hear those types of things when they test multiple houses.
Okay.
Well, the reason why.
When me, I looked into it, it was $80.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely correct. So, but there is state grants for that as well.
yeah, I just had our private well tested, and we did the full bacteria all the way up VOCs, and I think it was about $260 to test. But I would really encourage looking into a study of our rural wells, rural water supplies.
They are, we're doing it about 3 townships at a time. We know the biggest problem is this area right here.
Yeah,
Does the dump have anything to do with it?
No, it's
No.
the ledge.
We don't think the water.
That plume is getting there. It's hit bedrock.
It's coming.
The ledge is
It's
the
going.
biggest problem here because it's porous.
yeah, very fractured limestone bedrock here. Yeah, the biggest problem is agricultural runoff, fertilizer,
Yep.
Correct.
manure and fertilizer.
All of South, they just have a thing, all of Southwest Wisconsin, 43% of wells are contaminated.
But it takes them forever. The bills have been passed 2 years ago already, and it's put off.
Correct.
There's no.
That's why I think a lot
inspectors
more
out there.
proactive.
There's not enough bodies to handle the laws.
Any more discussion on this resolution? Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 6-0-1.
We'll have to get that to him right away.
The old business? Additional citizen comments? Announcements?
Oh, sorry about the additional citizen comments. I'm leaving here a big old map studies of the landfill. They're very interesting, shows exactly how high they're gonna be, how much more they're gonna push out for information. Might even be good to get to the APL as well. So, I'll leave that here for folks to take a look at.
And if you go on the website that was listed in the notice that was put in the Pioneer, you can see more data than you want to see, but it's all in there if you can look at it at home.
Eighth hazardous dump in the country or something.
What?
What is it?
No, there's records
Really?
on the eighth hazardous dump in the country.
Great.
It's gonna affect our property values, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Our health.
It's the only place you can dump asbestos.
Everybody's set on the the convention? That's going?
I think so.
Yeah, you registered for the convention? I'm just driving back and forth, so.
I registered.
We registered, I thought already.
Panic,
Yeah,
take care of you.
right.
You're registered.
Oh, okay.
It's
that's what-
closed, you can't register anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. I should-
Anybody who said they were.
Just want to
going
make sure
stop.
everybody's got it under calendar.
Yep.
Nothing else, meeting is adjourned.
Oh, thank you.
Dick can go on to his next.